Hello, welcome to In Defence of Traditional Martial Arts. It hasn't been a great week for my weight loss. I've maintained my weight, which is good. I've dropped slightly in body fat percentage. It's gone down by 0.2%. As somebody pointed out, 40-something% body fat is an awful lot. As I said from the beginning of this, I don't believe that scale's correct. I don't think any of those scales are correct, but that one especially. As you join me now, I've just finished doing my weapons, enjoying the last bit of the sunshine. I'm going to have some tea. This is called Da Hong Po. I'm sure I've murdered that Chinese, just ask my daughter how it's pronounced. Classic red robe, which is a classic fine-grade version of the famous Big Red Robe roasted oolong from Wu Shan. Dark, twisted leaves produce an amber liqueur with a roasted aroma. The comforting mineral taste has roasted floral notes and a smooth, savoury aftertaste. Brew 3+ times. So, I've got my little tea measuring spoon. I usually measure out by eye, but it's just handy to reach into this packet really, because it doesn't pour out well, it tends to go all over the place. And this is my favourite teapot that I own, I think, just because, well, you'll see in a bit. But it's, as you'll see, it's on this nice bamboo tea tray, and the reason that's there is because, well, you'll see in a bit, if you notice when I'm out at my training spot, and I tip the tea away and that, and just when I'm serving, you get tea everywhere. If you've got it on one of these tea trays, it goes into these holes and keeps your own property from getting messy, I guess. Yeah, so weight loss. So I have been quite sort of random with how I do things, from my training to my diet. I plan on just trying to keep down the sugary drinks and cutting down on what I eat rather than going for a strict diet, because I feel like I can maintain that a lot better. Something I'm trying to do is to bring food into work rather than being tempted to get like a fry up. And yeah, just doing things like drinking more tea. So I do have a much bigger tea tray than this, but this is a lot easier for bringing it out to the garden. This is my favourite teapot. I think I got it from Temu or AliExpress, is it? And I've got this cup separately as well. It's probably my favourite. I quite like the art scene of it. I think it kind of matches the teapot. Again, you need to be very careful when you order cups to make sure you get them a decent size. Quite often you order these things online and they'll be like that big and you won't even have like a proper cup of tea out of it. So let's just pour it first. It's deep. So this is what I like about it. The tea leaves stay in there. There's a strainer, and as you turn it, it just stays in the teapot. And because I'm outside, normally I just chuck the tea on the grass, but I'll show you for the purposes of this tea tray. You pour it in and it all goes in the tea tray. Pour some more hot water in and leave that to get a decent cup of tea. Yeah, so that troll update on him. Apparently he's going to train for a year and do some MMA training, and he's going to get in a cage with me, so I can't lose too much weight because he is a bit of a fat pig, and there's no way he's getting down to fight a middleweight, so I'm going to have to maintain around about this weight so I can be a heavyweight to fight him. Can I be bothered to do that for a year? No. We'll see if he's still commenting as it gets closer, and then I'll bulk up a bit, I think. It's interesting. He uses the same arguments I've seen time and time again with delusional people that just don't spar. Let's see if he's got the latest. I've got let's go through what I've gathered today from him, because I had stopped communicating with him, but then it got interesting. Because he put on here, some point in 2026. I don't want to give an exact date because it's never going to happen and I can't hold him to that, can I? He'll get the whole of 2026 to keep this facade up. I don't want to give an exact date because I have no combat sports experience, so obviously I have a lot of work to do. Do you accept these terms of engagement? I mean, obviously yes. But I replied with, so you could kill me in 30 seconds, which is what he reckons, but you couldn't compete with me in the cage. Are you admitting that you're not as skilled as me? I think that's a fairly reasonable question to ask. It comes down to this thing. It's like you ask these people, is it that you're less skilled than me? And they go, well, no, street fighting's different. Okay, what's different about street fighting? He hasn't actually answered that yet. He's put, silly Sasquatch doesn't know the difference between a fight and sport fighting. I think I mean the difference between a street fight and a sport fight, because they're both fights. So a fight and sport fighting is a fight. I don't. But let's forget that. I hope you never have a real fight, mate. Again, real fight in the cage. It's a real fight. In fact, haven't worked as a doorman. Haven't had street fights, well, pub fights. Even had a fight at work once. They tend to be easy because you're fighting people that aren't trained. Like, the fact that these people seem to have an inflated ego because they beat up some bum in a pub who was drunk, had never had a fight in their life, even if they have actually done that, is astounding to me. But yeah, so I think I replied to that, but I haven't got it on here. So let's go live to see if there's any updates. Right, drunk bloke windmilling in Basildon town centre is more skilled than you, Sasquatch. So what I would say is, if that's true, why do you need a year to get ready to fight me in a cage? Do you not know how to throw a punch? Do you not know how to kick? Do you not know how to grapple? That's what it sounds like to me. When people use this argument, a street fight is much different to a cage fight. What I hear from them is, I have to fight dirty in order to have a chance of winning a fight. Now, if I'm wrong, can anyone out there please correct me? Because I don't think I am. I think that's what he's saying. It ignores two things. One thing is, if you can't jab me, then you can't do your deft touches on me either. You're not going to land it on me. Also, if you're fighting dirty in the street, that also means that I can fight dirty in the street, but I won't have a ref to stop me. On the mean streets, of course I would. It's the only way. What way, mate? And then he's going on to insult Tomo. Oh, he's put, Barry Gibb, you are my witness. I laid out the challenge and asked if the rules of engagement were acceptable, and Sasquatch refused to answer. I'll leave it at that. Did I answer? Pretty sure I did. Oh no, he has got a point I haven't answered. Right, so Toe Cutter 875.
Or do you feel the same?
Of course I accept. If you can fight me in a year's time, I'm not even going to bother training for it, because I don't think you will. And even if you do put a year's worth of training in it, you're still going to be shite. Yeah, I mean, I think that's about it. These arguments, they're silly. These arguments are, I would beat you in a street fight, but I couldn't beat you in a cage. How? Again, if you're saying you have to fight dirty in order to beat me, I can fight dirty too. If you're saying it would be over quicker, yes it would, because beat you to a pulp a lot quicker. If you're saying it's because you have a better skill set than me, how? If you can't compete with me in a cage with gloves, you can't compete with me on the street without them. Because you're basically saying you need to break the rules in order to win. You are saying you are less skilled than me, so you would have to fight dirty in order to beat me. But as I keep pointing out, I can fight dirty too. I kind of forgot what I wanted to talk about in the first place, which is weapons training. You know, when people say about getting fit, how do you get fit with all these slow movements? Weapons training isn't really done slowly for the most part. I think there's styles that do it slowly. I think that's a bit of a cop-out. You should be able to do them at all speeds, but just doing your sword forms and like your spear form at kind of a mid-tempo is enough to work your cardio. So I think that's all I've got to say about that. I'm not sure what I covered. I think I probably got a bit angry actually. Well done. 7 bellies. But I forgot what I was actually really going to concentrate on. I bought a new scale. I think I covered that. So I can get more accurate measurements. What I'm going to do is when I weigh myself next week, I will weigh myself on the old scales and weigh myself on the new scales. I won't be quite so embarrassed to post pictures. It links up to your phone, so there's an app. I'll be able to share the data a lot easier that way. And then from then on, going forward, I'll use the new scales. I'm going to bin the old ones. Maybe I should keep them, because back in the day, I always had 2 sets of scales because I was so paranoid about missing weight that I would weigh myself on 2 different sets of scales. So maybe I'll keep them for another year just in case toe cutter gets off that couch.
It is your
Yeah, I'm gonna try writing down. I'm not gonna do it by the day because I work shifts. I'm gonna write down. I'm gonna try and stick to doing my Nigung, my short form, and my saber form daily, and then I'm gonna mix it up a bit. I'm gonna that's gonna be like my baseline, and then 4 days a week, which I think is what I can reasonably set my sights at doing at the moment. 4 days a week, I'm gonna go a bit more into my sort of Nigung-esque exercises that I've been doing by the river. Do the whole sets that I do of those as well. I'm going to do specific weapons training, concentrate on that one of the days to get my cardio up, and also maybe just alternate doing that. Do some strength and conditioning stuff, mix that in. I really need to think about it, and I might share it, I might not. It depends if there's any real interest in doing that. So yeah, the sunlight's about to die. I'm going to finish drinking my tea. Thanks for watching. It might be interesting this time next year. I doubt it, but fingers crossed. Toe cutter lifts up his belly, finds his balls.
Now you got someone to blame.